All right. So I'm Sarai. It's nice to meet everyone. Good morning. How's your morning been going so far? Yeah? Was the keynote good?
Yes.
It was? I hate I missed it. All right, guys. So I feel like before anybody can just really coach you or train you, you need to know a little bit about them. So this is me. I have been a floater, a assistant teacher, a lead teacher. I quit. I came back. Worked in management. I've been an office manager, assistant director, director. Now I'm an executive director. So I did all the things. I've gone through my phases of burnout of, is this really for me? Maybe it's not. Maybe I need to leave, try something else. Didn't like working with adults like that, and miss kids, and miss people who had a heart for kids, honestly. So, yes, all my phases, my team, as a teacher, some of my babies in the past, some of my teachers, graduation, all the things. But I say all that to say, I do what I do because I really have a heart for people and for teachers who simply don't receive the opportunity, right, to work through the things. A lot of times, we're given correction, but we're not given the tools to actually correct what we're receiving. And that biggest thing for me was behavior. Kids in the classroom either turn up things or emotional breakdowns, but I'm expected to accommodate, but nobody tells me how to accommodate.
Yeah.
So that is why I love teaching about social and emotional learning, because there's so many other factors to it. Okay, so here's the objective, your overall spiel of everything that you're going to learn in this session today. And at any point, if y'all have questions, please stop me. This is not a sit and look at me talk. This is a interactive, ask questions. I really want to help, okay? All right, so hands up if this applies to you. So you work with children ages 3 through 5. Okay. Hands up if you feel like they work you some days. Okay, very good. Hands up if you've ever said, we're cleaning up, and then all of a sudden everybody else needed one more minute because they weren't ready yet. Okay. If you help one child and then magically another kid needs help too. Okay. If you watched a calm moment turn into a disagreement over the same toy nobody wanted 5 seconds ago.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you've thought about why does this behavior happen at the same time every single day? Okay. If you tried a strategy that worked beautifully one week and then the next week it just did not work. All right. Awesome. So all of that is to say that you guys have much more in common than you really think. And it's okay. All of this is familiar and it's age appropriate, especially for this age group. Okay? So, why this matters? Okay? Behavior, we all know, is a form of communication, whether a child is verbal or nonverbal. Okay? Play is where children practice emotions safely. So how many times have you been observing your kids in dramatic play, block center, and you see them role play, but half the time they're role playing their parents' business, aunt's business, things that they've seen. Yeah. They will tell you all the things that's happening in their house, but that's actually them practicing their emotions as well. So it's not a bad thing that they're role playing now. What they're role playing about can get a little touchy, but it's normal, right? And that's something we should actually support. It's just supporting it in a healthy way, okay? All right, so I'm gonna show this quick little 2-minute clip, but it really just kind of goes over social and emotional learning for those who are not too familiar with it. And if you are familiar with it, then this will just brush up what you already know.
these days about SEL, social emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills, and it's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in school, work, and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Students learn to recognize what's happening inside them and to be aware of their emotions, which helps them deal with strong emotions and impulsive behaviors. It helps them stop, take a breath, and think about a situation before acting. Students learn to identify others' emotions and perspectives, which helps them empathize and show compassion, no matter who they are or what their background is. It's not difficult to imagine how this is important in the classroom and in life. Students learn to solve problems in peaceful ways and communicate assertively about what they need or want. This helps them get along with other students and get the help they need from adults. When students learn to make responsible decisions about their lives and their future, things can turn out better. Research shows social emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often. In the United States, students with strong social emotional competence are twice as likely to earn a college degree and nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job by age 25. Just as important, students who are socially and emotionally competent have more friends. This means they're more likely to feel connected to school and do well, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Simply put, by participating in social emotional learning, students learn the skills to succeed in every facet of school and the rest of their lives.
All right, so a couple of definitions for you guys. I'll leave it up for a second so you can either take a picture or jot it down. But this is the way I help teachers kind of break down how to address the behavior that is being shown. So the antecedent, which is a stimulus, event, or condition, occurs immediately before the behavior and triggers or sets the stage for that behavior. We, of course, know the definition of behavior, right? It's observable, it's measurable. And then the consequence, which is basically how we respond after we see said behavior. Is everybody good for me to go to the next slide? Okay. All right, so let's break it down a little bit. So the antecedent, what happened right before. So putting it into perspective of the time of day it's happening. So if you are having a kiddo, let's say meltdowns typically tend to happen right before circle time, or during any transition where you're physically leaving the environment, but it's repetitive, meaning it's happening over 2 to 3 times, something's off. And it's not always to say that our routine or our schedule is off, but sometimes it's to say, okay, what is taking place before it? Specifically for circle time, right? Typically that's in the morning time. What does that routine look like for them at home? Like their day starts before they get to us. Did they eat breakfast? Do they always miss breakfast? And we don't know that they didn't eat at home, right? There's a couple of different factors that goes into play and why a behavior is being shown. So I want you to kind of identify in your mind those kids you have and when they tend to start having those behaviors. And then I kind of want you to dig a little deeper and write some questions for yourself that you can talk to parents about, talk to your team leads about, but things that can allow you to dig a little deeper to see, is there something else maybe causing this uproar, this behavior that's happening consistently? And if you don't have a routine or a schedule, that's a big flag right there. Kids, they thrive on routine. They need to know what's next. They don't have a sense of actual time, but they do have a sense of, okay, I know after snack, we go to the playground, right? That's how they remember things. And that's also how, when you're referencing time of day to them, how you need to reference it, because it puts it into, okay, I know what to expect. And when they know what to expect, you don't see as much behavior, okay? Shifting into behavior, so observable actions like hitting, screaming, throwing tantrums. How severe is it? Is it something that we can pick our battle with, or is it something where it's disrupting your classroom? And when I say pick your battle, I think we all know what I mean. Like, is it, you know, you don't want to sit, but you'll sit behind us as long as you have a toy or something, you know, that's depending on, you know, your environment, how you structure your classroom. That's an opportunity to pick my battle, right? Because even if they're not sitting in circle time, I've seen so many kids still absorb everything that teacher is teaching without even sitting in the physical circle, right? So, but if it's actually disrupting your classroom, kicking chairs, throwing, trying to get other kids off task, and of course, we want to address that, okay? And then consequence. So typically what you as the teacher do to address that behavior is the most important part. There are some times in some situations, when I was a teacher, or even recommended to my teachers, if a kid is, you know, physically throwing things around your classroom, because I've seen it all. Chairs, toys, flipping buckets, you know, that's when you call for assistance so somebody else can help assist while you manage the rest of your kiddos safely. But if it's something where you have a co-teacher, you know, which is a blessing, to be able to step in while you can address that behavior with that kid, do that too. I would also say in the case for behaviors, and you have a co-teacher, it needs to be strengths and weaknesses. Like, if you know you have a teacher in the classroom, they're better with behaviors and that regulation for kiddos, let that be their part, right? And you handle the rest of the kids to keep it in ratio. But I will say, be transparent with your co-teachers, because sometimes that can be overwhelming. I always have the kids that have behaviors. So that's why it's super important to know when to say, like, okay, I'm tagging you in, I'm tagging me out, I'm gonna go over here to the art table with the other kids, like, it's your turn, you know? You have to work together. All right. So the first thing is looking for repeaters. So by identifying the routine, the trigger, and determining the payoff. Repeaters, like I said, same routine, same time of day, or same period of day, right? Trigger type, is it when you make them wait? So is it when you tell them it's not your turn, right? Is that when you see a behavior? Is it when you tell them no, which I think that's a trigger for a lot of friends. Peer conflict, when another child is playing with something and they want it, is that a trigger for them? Rotations, that's a lot of times where you'll see peer conflict if you have your kids to where they rotate throughout the centers in the classroom. And if it's always during rotations, you notice the behavior of them leaving the center, but then the other friend transitions to the center. Now all of a sudden they want to go back to the center, but they had ample time to play. Pay attention to those. And then getting even more specific, is it the same kid or is it different friends? If it's the same kid, okay, we want to be a little bit more observant. If it could be anybody, then it's simply teaching them, you know, waiting, right? And to take turns in some cases and ask permission. Payoffs. So is it when they're demanding something or when they want your attention, right? Sometimes the behavior is attention seeking. Majority of it is, but sometimes it could be to a specific teacher. Like, they're talking to such and such, but I only like them talking to me. But they have like a real attachment, you know? Kids do develop attachments to caregivers. Again, a lot of factors. That could be the caregiver that only listens to them, you know, babble or ask them about their day. You know, when they get home, they may not have that. again, that's thinking into, okay, it may be a reason why they're so attached to me, right? So, can somebody give me an example of a repetitive behavior that they've seen? Yes.
I have a kid it's been going on for a while. He comes in every morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's crying every morning, and during playtime, he takes toys, he pushes,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll take a toy and go give a kid a toy and take that toy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like every day. It's like we discuss this, we do this every day.
Okay. What steps have you taken?
What's the word?
What steps have you taken since you've observed it and you know it's every day, so it's consistent, right? You've identified the routine of it. Have you taken any steps, or what does that look like?
Well, I'll have him to take the toy back and give it back to that kid.
Okay.
And get another toy
Mhm.
and apologize for
Mhm.
taking that toy.
Okay.
And just calm him down. Or if he does it again, he's been time out for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Time out here.
Okay.
And then I ask him, do you know why you're here?
Mhm.
Time out here? And explain it to him.
Okay. Does that work for you? For him?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Have you thought about, do you give choices? You do give choices? Okay.
You need to play.
Okay.
Another toy.
Mhm.
Or he can sit down and, just do his own little thing.
Have you tried to give specific choices that are within your boundaries though? So like, for instance, you can go sit at the art table and color, or you can come over here to mathematics and do magnets,
Yeah.
giving them boundaries. Okay. And typically he does.
He does.
Okay.
He'll go get something else. I give him different buckets. You can get something out of this.
Mhm.
And he'll get something out of that. And he's happy again.
Okay. 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 I saw somebody else. Yes, ma'am.
I have a child that throws a fit every time it's time for him to go home. Every day, Monday through Friday, same time.
Okay.
I mean, it was happening at the same time,
Mhm.
unless somebody showed up earlier. And it was a meltdown with
Yeah.
it's on her face.
Hmm.
So that was just like, come on, every day.
How do the guardians react to that?
I don't know why he act like that.
Like he doesn't want to leave you guys.
Yeah, that's what the mom said. I don't know why he act like that, Miss Yolanda. He won't come to your house on Sunday. I gotta
Oh.
go. You gotta get me ready.
Mhm.
She's like, then it's a battle for about an hour. No, she's not open. Yeah, but she'll let me come in.
Oh
And
my
I'm just
God.
like,
Yeah.
I'm in a literal crying meltdown. And
Yeah.
So what I did for Brendan is, I'm sorry. No,
No.
what I did for him is, before it's time for him to go, hey,
Mhm.
let's get your shoes on, let's get your
Mhm.
socks on, get your backpack to the door.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, get him all ready.
Yeah.
And then as the time get closer, it's like, hey, you got about 10 more minutes to
Mhm.
be here.
Mhm.
Then you'll get to leave and come back tomorrow.
Mhm.
I can come back tomorrow. Yes, you can come back tomorrow.
Yes.
And so that has slowed it down. Unless time passes
Mhm.
and I'm doing something else, and then I look up
Okay.
and it's time for Brendan to go. It's all
Okay.
over again. So,
Okay. Well, I love the fact that you said you are giving him what to expect. Right, like you're mentioning you will be back tomorrow, those reassurances. Does he have siblings?
3 teenage sisters.
Yeah.
And he is the only boy at 3.
Yeah, so I mean, again, we don't know people's home situations, right? But outsider looking in, to me, it sounds like you guys give him a lot of attention. That he's probably craving right now, and then if he gets home, he might not receive that attention. So I don't want to go home either. Like I would say, stay at your house. You're gonna feed me, and play with me. So those are the things I want to say. Look at, and I love the fact that you don't look at it as a negative thing. It's unfortunate the fit throwing, but right, you understand. Okay, clearly I'm creating a safe space for him to want to be here, and that's what it's all about, is taking your personal social and emotional feelings and you not becoming overwhelmed with that or frustrated, because sometimes you are that person for them, and that is a lot. It can be heavy, But again, we don't know what these babies go home to sometimes. So yeah, when they're with us in our care and we see behavior like that, I mean, no, we don't want them throwing a fit, but you should definitely feel good that a kid loves you enough to want to stay in your care. I love that. All right. So, guessing the function. So before we try to fix behavior, right, quote unquote fix, we need to really try to step back and see what is the child trying to get, what is the child trying to avoid, or what is the child trying to regulate. So with escape, avoid, task. So am I trying to escape small group? Am I trying to escape coming in from outside? Right? That's us going back to identifying when it happens. Cleanup, I think I've seen a lot of kids try to escape or avoid cleanup. Group time, right? We talked about circle time. So when you do have a kiddo and you're like, okay, I want to dig deeper into why I'm seeing said behavior, these are the kind of steps I want you to really put into play and put into practice and write it out so you can identify the pattern. I promise you, pen and paper, it'll make sense to you, right? You'll start popping up with questions and things like that on your own. Attention, right? We talked about attention seeking. Access, are they wanting something that somebody else has? Sensory regulation, so noise, movement, needs, overwhelm behavior, things like that. Sensory based things, you can definitely you can tell, but you have to be really observant because sometimes it's not super noticeable. I mean, it could be as simple as, you put a kid at Play-Doh and they freak out and they throw a tantrum, but they really don't like the texture, little things, right? But not jumping to the fact that they don't want to be obedient, but there are other things in play. Okay, so first thing I want you to do, if you're thinking about a kiddo and you're thinking about their behavior, choose which one of these categories you feel like they are falling into. Okay, so let's start with escape and avoid. Asking ourselves, is the test too long? Is it too hard? Or is it happening without support? So example, I don't want to do this. I know you guys have heard that a lot of times. It can happen during transitions. I don't want to go inside from the playground, right? Then what do? I don't want to clean up. I don't want to be in circle time. And for challenging tasks, that could be when you are doing small group work. It could be writing work, manipulative work, and it's not necessarily playing in dramatic play with my baby doll right now, right? That can be tasked as a little bit harder. But with that, I want to give you guys an example. So let's say during cleanup, a child drops to the floor and cries when asked to put toys away. What is it telling us? You didn't want to put the toys up? We don't want to stop playing. It could be a number of things. There's no right or wrong answer. It could be another thing, a number of things. For me,
whatever's going to happen next.
Yes.
He probably already knows that it's a different activity that he does not want to do.
Yes. So for me, this would fall under avoid. You're avoiding cleaning up. You're avoiding having to stop playing, right? That's how I'm going to identify it. Now, what are some practices we can put into play when a kid doesn't want to clean up? What do you typically say? I want to hear what you guys normally tell a kid if they tell you I don't want to clean up.
I'll try to introduce different ways of cleaning up the things. One thing that I work with twos.
Okay.
But so it's a lot of communicating to them and hey,
Okay.
it's time to clean up. They're like, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
I don't care.
Uh-huh.
So I try to things if we're playing with manipulatives or something, I would even lift up my scoop up my shirt, say, hey, let's fill our kangaroo pocket.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
then we go dump it into the bucket.
Yes.
And kind of engages them in a way and say, okay, well we're gonna move to our next activity. When we're all done, we can come back and rejoin our friends with magnet tiles.
Right.
Whatever it might be. And it might not be like constant where like that one
Yeah.
specific thing works, but I see them like, oh wow, okay, this is a game again. Like, I don't wanna clean up, but I do wanna play this game.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll kind of like, they start to come around to it and they'll do it with each other rather than me leading them. I can step back and see if they start to engage.
Right. Yeah. So definitely, first things first, acknowledge the emotion. I don't want to clean up. Okay, that sounds like you're angry. You don't want to clean up. Or if they look sad, it looks like you're sad because I asked you to clean up. I hear you, right? And then go in with your reinforcement because you want to give them the language to be able to identify the emotion that they're feeling, right? This is all of it connected through play because this is them in the moment. Once you acknowledge and give them the verbiage for the emotion that they're feeling, then go back in and give them your directive of what it is you want them to do. For this age group, yes, cleaning up, turning into a game, absolutely. The first thing I would pull out my pocket is like a color game. Okay, I'm gonna grab some of the yellow ones. I need you to get the green ones. I need you to get the red ones. Right? Yes, sharing the responsibility. And they also see me being an example of what I'm doing. Now, am I going to clean up the whole center? No, I am not. Because I didn't make the mess. But that gets them started off. And then you just give words of encouragement. Oh, look at you. You got 2 red ones as you're slowly walking away. And then you're going to another center. So a lot of times it doesn't take a whole giving into their meltdown or spill or I said clean up, you know. We know you're the teacher, you know, you're the leader of the classroom, but to kids, they don't see it that way, right? And especially we play with them. Sometimes they look at us like a friend, a peer. But yes, first things first, when you do see things like this, acknowledge the emotion, give them the words for it, then give your redirective, okay?
I've used the finger puppet.
Okay.
I have a little girl, they were big on the elf on the shelf.
Yes.
So that gave me that idea. I keep it in my
Nice.
pocket and I just pull it out and put it up to my ear. Nobody knows who's he's telling on or what's going on. And so they're like taking attention like, wait, is he saying something about me?
Yeah.
And whichever child is doing something that's not correct.
Right.
I'll be like, oh, he wanted me to tell you. I'm just using Brendan because I
Yeah.
didn't put his name out there.
Yeah.
To do, your shoes aren't tied, or you did a good job on, putting it up. So I just pull it out of my pocket and put it up to my ear and be like, really? And they're all looking like, oh, she's telling me. And that has really worked.
Really? I like that. Pop it out of your pocket. Okay. Yeah.
One thing I do, I've worked with 3s and then pre-K, is if we're, like it's cleanup time and we're going outside and when we come back in, we're gonna go back into centers. I've let them save their work. I've got their name tags. Cause like those little guys in the block area that have just spent the 30 minutes getting it to where they want it, and then they gotta tear the whole thing down before they get to play with it, that's emotionally hard sometimes for them. And for me, they've gotten to this step every single day, and every single day they have to take it down and put it away. They never get to expand and go to the next step with their stuff. So if we're going outside and we're coming right back in and going into centers again, I'll let them save what they're doing and come back in and restart. Or if they're in the art area and they've got that project that just needs 5 more minutes and they're, I'll let them save it. And so if it's for them to be able to do it. Now, if we're coming in and we're gonna have circle or something and we need that carpet area, then we've gotta clean up and do. But that's helped a lot with some of those kids that, like I said, what started it for me was years ago. I had the same little guy year after year that did the exact same structure, and every time he just got to that point, it was time to clean up, and one day it just kind of hit me, that would be frustrating for me too.
Right.
And I never got to see where it was gonna go to the next level, because he was like really, and it broke my heart for him, and so I thought, what is the problem? Let him come back in and finish it when we come in from outside.
Yes.
And so mine know, and I've got a little bucket that's got their names on the cards, and they'll say, we wanna save it, and they'll save it, and they'll do it when we come back in.
So you have identified little buckets for them. Does anybody work in a Montessori school?
That's where,
No. Okay.
I'm Montessori and traditional, so that's
Yes, okay, so I said that to say, once upon a time, I worked at a Montessori school, but I worked in an office, not in a classroom. But I was so interested and intrigued of like how they teach, I would always just go with it when I could. And one thing they do is save their work. I noticed that like if a kid didn't finish and maybe they didn't want to finish, but their work was put to the side and saved, and even if you had to come to school tomorrow, you gonna finish your work. But I love that in a positive sense, because even if it's like a little 2 piece of 3 Lego piece that a kid started, and it's like, okay, it's time to transition outside.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, hey, I'm not gonna break it up. I'm gonna put it up here, maybe on top of a cubby somewhere where another kid can't destroy it, but they can still see it and come to it later. So I love that you
Well,
mentioned
and it
that.
makes them feel like their work is important, what they're
Yes.
doing is, you know,
Yeah.
it's, and like I said, it doesn't fit in every part of our day or
Yeah.
our routine that we can do that. And they know, I'll tell them that, I'm sorry, this is just a time we can't save it, cause we're gonna need the
Mhm.
carpet, you know, but
Yeah.
I try to do that when I can
I
for
like
them.
that. Yeah.
But it did come from my Montessori, funny you
Yeah.
said that, cause it did come from my Montessori
Yeah,
training.
they do not play about your work. Okay, all right, guys. So next, let's look into access. So this is when kids want something specifically, or they want to make a decision that may be different from your decision or what you're telling them to do. So I heard you say like snatching toys and things like that. Throwing tantrums when you're denied something, or just refusing directions. So when a kid wants access to something, how do you typically respond? Do you have a kid that is that kid that maybe when they see somebody at the sensory bin, all of a sudden now they want to go to the sensory bin? How would you respond to something like that in your own way? Yes.
I have like magnet tiles, and that's like the crowd favorite in my class. And so if there's enough to split it, I'll split it until
Okay.
you sit here, you sit here. And we'll all
Nice.
play together, and I'll give them my choice. If I have like 2 people playing with it and another like 2 other people want to, I have a timer that says sinners on the top,
Okay.
and I'll set a timer, or I'll play like a little list of songs, and I'll tell them, okay, they have until this song's over, they have till the timer goes off, and they can hear it.
Sense of
And
time.
they'll,
Yeah.
as soon as that timer goes off, or as soon as that song stops, they'll, Miss Katie,
It's my
It's
turn.
my turn.
Yeah.
So they know, like, that's how things work.
Very good. So I was going to mention timers, visual timers, if you have them. I know sometimes we'll do the ones where it has like the little bell, but if you, a lot of us, I know like sometimes uses like a classroom app or something like that, or even an old school clock. If you have something where they can see it count down, that helps so much for turn taking, and then it takes the pressure off of you of keeping up with the time. Cause I can remember countless times, I'm like, oh yeah, 5 minutes. And then it done been 10 minutes that I went by, and I feel so bad. And they like, is it 5 minutes? I'm like, oh yeah, but it's really been 10. Yeah. So, right, it holds us accountable too. But we want to teach them, they can have access to stuff, but there's a way. So when we're doing that from a social and emotional lens, we want to give them the language too. So a lot of times we just hear like, you have to take turns. Okay, tell them why they have to take turns. All right, tell them why they have to share. Tell them why they can't snatch a toy from someone, you know? Show them the behavior. So if I see a kid snatch, let's say, break someone's block center down, I'm gonna say, hey, do you see what you did? Look at their face. Do they look happy or sad? And I'm gonna wait. I want them to respond. I'm not gonna answer for them. Because I need them to be able to acknowledge the emotions of others and learn how to respond to it. This is also a part of problem solving, because we cannot continue to always fix their problems. They are going to get to kindergarten and they have to be able to learn how to problem solve themselves, right? So in situations like that, when they do want access to other people's items or things like that, you want to help give them the language and the tools they need to be able to fix the problem themselves. You're literally just the coach. You are not there to do the fixing for them, okay? So a couple of creative ways that I've heard people like sentence starters to kind of put it fresh on their mind. I've had teachers make like a little flip chart and put it on a key ring of sentence starters. If a kid hits or if a kid snatches, literally flipping, okay, this is how I can start this sentence off to acknowledge their emotions. Because sometimes you really just don't know when you're in the moment, especially like if you're in a small group and you know, you hear them on the other side of the room. You just need those reminders. I've had teachers put them on the walls in their classroom above their center shelves, you know, if your center allows you to. So you also have to do it in a way that works for you, so you're not going out of your way to teach the behavior, because it's a lot, especially if you have fully, you know, full classrooms, you're at Texas State ratio, it could be a lot to be able to connect and give social and emotional skills, right? Sounds good, but in the classroom it's a lot. So if you have those tips and things like that around your classroom and it looks, you know, friendly, things like that to parents, and it's beneficial to you, why not? You know? All right, let's jump into the next one. I should got me a clicker.
I have a question about
Yeah.
what you just said right now.
Yeah.
We have those.
Okay,
and we
nice.
get in trouble.
You did? Yeah, some centers, I know especially like corporate centers, things have to look a certain way. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, be creative. You can put sentence starters, put them in your teacher cabinet. You can have a hook in your classroom where it's not visible to parents. Let's see. Other ways that you could just give reminders. I mean, honestly, if you just practice them a lot, right? Everything is memory based. So if you are super repetitive with it and consistent with it, eventually you'll kind of learn how to pick up on it. Some teachers I know like to carry around clipboards with them because they like to do like on-site observations throughout the day, like when the kids play. Maybe have a couple of the sentences at the top of like your personal note sheet, right? If parents can't see it, the kids can't have access to it. For your Texas Rising Star mentor, right? It's not up and posted, so it doesn't take away from your accreditation, you know, level and things like that, because you want to be in compliance. But you just get creative of how you can remind yourself. Okay. Attention. Kids that want attention. Typically that's yelling out, interrupting you, arguing with you, bothering peers, just negative behavior. But all in all, they really just want attention, and that's not a bad thing. They're just not going about it in the right way. So I want y'all to remember that. The fact they want attention is not bad. They just need the tools to go about getting the attention from you in the right way. Because essentially what they're saying is, I need connection. So kids that do want attention, this is when I say your routine is super imperative. If you have a circle time, for instance, typically that's in the morning time, do a greeting, but do a personalized greeting. Like I know we do, you know, like our morning songs where we say good morning to our friends, but maybe offer opportunity for, you know, a good morning and a hug or a high five, you know, or a fist pump with you individually. This could be even when they're coming in, maybe like a greeting that you could do with your kids. I've seen so many things, especially on TikTok and everything, because, I mean, technology has evolved. But I saw like a teacher post where kids can point if they wanted a high five or a hug or a fist pump. Yeah, so if you're doing something like that, that's amazing, right? Because you're giving them attention, but you're allowing them to choose the type of attention that they're going to receive from you. And setting things like that throughout the day. So not just the morning, because they're going to need that again before nap. They're going to want that again before they, you know, go outside, and then before they go home. Other ways that you can show attention, and this is, of course, depending on your center. Kids that get up from nap time, my girls who wake up with crazy hair, I used to have disposable combs and rubber bands and a water spray bottle. And I would fix a ponytail, or I would, you know, do an Elsa braid, as they used to call it a long time ago. Of course, you want to make sure it's okay with your parents, but this is another small way you can give attention. To your boys, most boys love building blocks, dinosaurs, sensory bins. Going over there and being super theatrical with them, making the sounds, not just, oh, what did you build? Oh, okay, that's nice. Like, get down there and interact with them. They're like, oh my gosh, you know about the dinosaur sound too. But find ways, like, your kids, find ways that you can make connections with them. And this, yes, is going to change every time you get a new group of kids, right? But this is the part about being a teacher and being personable. And this is how we kind of become their person. But when we do things like this, it helps avoid all of this stuff, the interrupting, the arguing, when we give them and show them positive attention, it helps. So language, because we still will have kids that try to do this, even despite us putting all the best practices into play. Verbiage, right? We go back to acknowledging the emotion. I understand. I used to have a kid that wanted like 10 hugs all throughout the day. I see you. Remember, we give hugs in the morning and we give hugs before we go home. That is not rude. You are teaching them boundaries, right? But you're also giving them the words for it. You can give them, hey, I love the fact that you love to give me hugs. But remember, then set that time frame again, right? Because we want to give them attention, but we need to show them the boundaries with it so we can avoid them throwing a fit. Does anybody in here feel like they have kids that are super attention seeking and you have a question? Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I have one kid that comes in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like me and his mom is like fighting because she would tell him that he can do ABC or XYZ.
In your classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
In my home. But then when I say no, then he screams and yells and
Okay.
be the most. And I talk to him
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, well, this is Miss J's
Mm-hmm.
area. Miss J wants you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And he screamed, but my mom said that I could watch TV, and I'm like, even though it's an in-home,
Right.
you still can't just sit
Absolutely.
and watch TV or do what you want to do. So how, because the mom is telling him one thing, and then now he's becoming, oh, I don't like you here, oh, I don't want to come here. So he said that several times, and I told mom, if he doesn't like it here, I don't want to force him to be here.
Right.
But she's like telling him one thing, and I know she is,
Mhm.
because he come back and tells me.
Yeah, because they will.
How do I
Address that?
Yes.
Okay, before I give you my advice, I want to ask, are you like the owner or a teacher that works in the home child care?
No, I'm the owner.
You're the owner? Okay. It sounds like to me an overstepping of boundaries, right? Do you do like an orientation with your families of like your expectations, your rules, of like they get a classroom schedule? Like
Yes.
they do.
It's all in my parent handbook.
And she signed that?
Yes.
This is, hey, I need us to sit and revisit the expectations of my center, right? Because honestly, I wouldn't even put that on a child because they're listening to what mom is saying. So it's only so much redirection you can do if our parent or guardian is saying something that's different. Because honestly, we're supposed to be parent and guardian and us working together like a co-parenting situation.
Right.
That sounds like we're not treating my school like a school, we're treating me like a babysitter, and this is not that. I am a school, I'm here to teach and grow your child, and we have a routine. Yes, it is a home-based center, but guess what? It is a licensed home-based center. So therefore, I have a routine, I have a schedule, and you agreed to it. So I need us to partner so we can do what's best for your kiddo, and with that, I need you to be on board with me with routine, right? With scheduling, with the boundaries on what he can and can't do, and that starts with TV time. I would just be honest, because honestly, you just might not be the center for them. If you have that conversation and it's still a problem, there are child cares, home child cares, and other child cares everywhere. Like, you want people who understand you're here to build their child, not babysit their child. So,
And
that's my opinion.
they need to understand that it
state regulating the TV time anyway.
Exactly.
It's in minimum standards. and
Give a
you
copy
only
of
have
it
so
to
much
standards and
more
highlight it for them. Yeah.
And it has to be related to what you're teaching.
Mhm.
That's at all centers, and so, you know,
I had a Shop Valley, because this little boy was always telling me what his mom said or what I can't do. So I took a note card and wrote a telephone number on it. I said, hey, I need you to give this to your mom.
Yeah.
And she called and said, Miss Yolanda, he said this number. I said, oh, that's the daycare that lets him do what he wants to do. I gave her the number to a center
Yeah.
that was on the Beltway. It was-
Yeah.
And didn't put a name or
Yeah.
anything, because I wanted her to call me.
Yeah.
So we could
We can have a
He
conversation.
is telling me every day what he can and can't do in my house. So that's a daycare center. that
Yeah.
He can do that at.
Yeah, definitely, if you guys have routines and schedules,
That point forward.
you know, if you're your owner, amazing, but if you're not an owner, you're a teacher, that is something I would get with your owner or director on, because, you can only do so much redirection with the baby of, you know, they're hearing something different, and that's confusing, right, for any kid. And essentially, we're with their kids more than they are, so,
But I have another thing
yeah,
too.
go for it.
Even so, that he does in the morning time,
Mm-hmm,
she started to complain that I was doing too much paperwork. So we do writing, one page of writing, because he's free,
mm-hmm,
and then we'll do art in the afternoon.
mm-hmm.
But now she's like contradicting herself to where, oh, he's not doing this, but I don't know what you want me to do, because if I practice writing,
Mm-hmm.
it's too much.
Yeah, it just
So
sounds
I was like, I wanna give her, cause I said, I prayed about it, and I
Yes.
told myself, I'm gonna give her 2 weeks, and I don't think it's just gonna work out.
yeah, and you know
It's
what?
my first year too.
No.
so I'm-
Hey, I have, as a director, honestly, I've had some kids where I've had to say, you know what, I can't accommodate. After I've tried X, Y, and Z, after I've spoken to the parents X, Y, and Z, sometimes you just can't. And that's not a bad thing. But I've also given them the grace period of, hey, they can still come for 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to find care elsewhere. But before you hop to that, I would honestly have a sit down, not over the phone, sit down face to face if you could, even a Zoom, just so it could be personable. Go ahead.
We had 4.
You have 4? Okay. Oh, okay, okay.
Someone like, you know, personal, you know, like a family
No.
member or someone, oh.
Okay, cause you know, sometimes family or friends, they have
Mhm.
want to take advantage of it.
So there's no, like, not an opportunity for y'all to sit down and have like a combo?
I've done that, because she was saying like little comments at first, and, I told her like, well,
Yeah.
this not the place for you.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm doing this, because I've done everything
Yeah,
that I possibly can, I went back to trainings, I even asked,
Yeah.
I even called my friend and asked her.
yeah, no, it sounds like you did your part. I would honestly say, if you had it in you, one more conversation, but with materials. This is a copy of the schedule, our routine.
I'm gonna do that next, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
Curriculum.
Yes.
This is what my writing looks like, this is how much writing to expect that we do throughout the month, right?
Okay.
Here's a copy of the lesson plan for the month, cause I need you to know what we're doing.
Okay.
And if you can support this and be on board with this and partner with me for your kiddo, hey, cool. If not, I will give you a 2-week notice to find care elsewhere that can accommodate to what you're looking for.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So I have one, they're no longer, in the center anymore, but
Okay.
that's fine. But, the mom, I would tell her all the time, cause one son is 6 and he has autism, and he has a younger brother, that is like 2, but I know he's on the spectrum, but, you know, I can't diagnose, but he only says a couple of words, but, they would open hand slap each other, and then they would like rough play, I mean, they would hug each other, cause he's after school and he would see his brother, and they would hug each other and be excited, and then that would turn into, you know, rough play, which turns into them fighting, and then open hand slapping each other, just very physical.
Yeah.
And antagonizing each other. Even the older brother would antagonize the younger one. So I would say to mom, like, oh, he opened hand slapped his brother,
Yeah.
you know, and you can hear like a pow, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, So I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
taken
So
back.
then I'm
Yeah.
taken back because I'm doing this, and then I hear that big slap, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know. So then mom will be like, oh, why did you do that? We don't do that.
Mhm.
Like just totally. And then she's like, oh, but they're just siblings, and I'm like, but we don't
encourage
condone
that.
or
Yeah.
encourage that. So what do you do when mom is not on board
Um,
every time?
I would
Because she
start.
would literally act like.
I would start a new routine. Hey, I know y'all do this. I would teach them a handshake. I need y'all. I'm gonna give you this task. I need y'all to come up with a super cool handshake. Something different to where they can still have that physical connection, but it's not that aggressive connection, right? And then explain to them why, like, because one day you might do it too hard and you might hit them in the eye
And
or
I think I set
in
myself
the
up
face.
because at first they weren't nice to each other. So I'm like,
Mhm.
that's your brother, the only
Yeah.
other brother you have in the world. You know,
Yeah.
that's the only person. You need to hug your brother.
Yeah.
Be excited to see your brother. So I did encourage that, and they started
Yeah.
doing that. But then it turned into, you know, just rough play and then
Yeah.
fighting.
No, I
So then
would
I
find a
took it
different
away.
way.
I'm like, no. But I like what she said.
Yeah.
Is implementing that.
Just finding, maybe
Oh,
finding
they
a
can
couple
touch
of
each
different
other.
ones where they can still physically touch, but that's not aggressive, but that could be things cool for them. So
And what do you do about mom that's just like
Honestly-
every time because it's normal to her.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do at home, so it's normal. But in
be
another
honest
setting,
with her. Tell her like, hey, like we talked about it. Here it's not appropriate, right? Because we're looking at the potential of them getting hurt. We don't want other kids picking up on that behavior as well, because other kids are observant, right?
they do.
Yes,
And then
they
what
watch.
happens is when other parents come, they're over there fighting each other.
Mhm.
And then the parent is looking at me like I
You
can't
just letting
control
them kids
them.
over
Like
there
I'm just
fighting.
letting them over there
Yeah.
fighting or whatever. And that's
Yeah.
not the case. And she never sees that.
No, I would have an honest conversation with mom and with the boys and say, hey, I'm going to encourage them to do a new routine. You can too. This is what I'm going to do on my part. I'm going to look at this as super cool, like handshakes and things like that, because there are so many other physical greetings that they can do. I don't care if it's running a lap and giving a high five.
And then lastly, the youngest one always gets upset. Mom always comes at 5:59.
Mhm.
Or 6 o'clock every day, but
Yeah.
he would always scream when other kids are dropped off, picked up because he wants to go home. So it's like a trigger for him. So if he sees somebody, it's time for somebody to go home, or if he hears the doorbell or somebody knocking, he starts screaming, and then the people are coming to get their kids, and then it's like, why is he screaming? And he does it every time.
I would definitely find something that he really enjoys doing, maybe in the classroom, or even if you have the capability, then being like your personal helper.
So I had the older brother that way because he was my leader, my door leader. So, but he would antagonize, so I had to switch him to my door leader. Then the other kids got upset because they wanted to be a door leader. So then I said I'm gonna have to take turns
Did I
on
hit
door
my
leader.
time, y'all?
Oh goodness, okay.
No, you're good. You're
Yeah.
good. Did I hit my time? I'm good? Okay. The people in the hallway made me nervous.
That's the
Okay.
second group.
Yes, I have an emergency
Yeah.
situation. I have a hugger. When she comes every morning, she wants to get a hug. And I
Mhm.
heard you earlier say, you get them in the morning and sometimes later in the evening and when they leave.
Mhm.
But she wants to, like, the men you don't give it to her, she has a meltdown. Especially during supper time, if you say no, she's gonna a lot of drama and all.
Right.
And the men are like, okay, let me just compromise and give it to her. She distracts the whole classroom and everybody also wants that.
She's verbal?
Yes, she is. Very.
And have you talked to mom?
When I talk to mom, the next mom is saying she's crazy, she's not.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of drama there.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my information. So we can talk a little bit more.
So the kids even now use those words.
Okay. Ms. Rigger, how many minutes do I have left? 10 minutes? 7? Okay, very good. Okay. All right, guys, sensory regulation. So, I think this is one of the last ones. So, typically for this is when kids are acknowledging that their body is not okay. Something is happening. This could be a situation like a kid is running off and, maybe they're covering their ears. We could think, okay, maybe they're just playing, but typically those are small signs of like a sensory overload. Same thing like I mentioned earlier with Play-Doh, right? A kid could just automatically flip out when you say, okay, here's your Play-Doh, here's your items, and they don't want to touch it. Language, right? This is when we want to ask questions. So if we see the behavior, something physical that is not okay, we want to point to the area, right, and say, what's happening? You know, how does that feel? We want to give them the words before we try to correct it, okay? Some things that actually kind of help desensitize the body is if you notice kids that like to jump on couches, crash into furniture, that is actually sometimes them trying to regulate their body physically. Can it be kind of a bother? Absolutely. But this is when we have to, as a teacher, find another way. So outside time. I know sometimes for us it's a break too, but we gotta get creative with it. If you have these kids like that are jumping off your couches, they're trying to jump off your countertops, these are the ones you, when they get outside, you wanna say, hey, I wanna see how super fast you go 3 laps around the playground, right?
Run it out.
I'm trying to make them take a good nap. But they need that. Spinning, that is a great one as well. Balancing, if you have any materials where they can have like a walk along, where they can practice balancing and things like that, and their body can sway, that also helps with sensory regulation. Yes. So outside of just, I know we hear the fidgets and stuff a lot, but you really want to outsource and do things that really get their body moving. Kids that struggle for circle time and it's just sitting, so maybe they're not disruptive verbally, but their body, like they're just always, you know, pitter-pattering. Focus on what part of their body they're really moving the most, and then dig into that and see, okay, what can I find? Because sometimes it could be a wiggle seat, right? Sometimes it could be, okay, let me give you a chair for circle time so you can swing your legs. It could be so many things, but we also got to make sure to put some of our teacher pride aside with, you know, some kiddos if they don't sit, right, and we have to try to accommodate. All right, guys. Well, we did a whole bunch of breakouts, so we're going to skip past those because y'all were super talkative. I love it. So these were really just me going through each one of the steps and asking, have y'all experienced any? And y'all giving me examples, and y'all have gave me a ton. So if you want to take pictures of this, you absolutely can. These are just some little nuggets. This is one. This is another.
Oh, can you go back real quick?
Yep.
Got it.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Say something?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys have children that is on the spectrum, but I do.
Okay.
And I'm with them every day.
Yes.
But we also, if some of your children don't communicate, we offer TV Snap. So I use a communication device for my kids to be able to tell me what they want, because my kids are nonverbal. And we have tutors with nonverbal in another classroom. So if you want to like download it or tell like the parent to download TV Snap, that would help, because everything comes with it to like I want or how they feel or what they want to eat. Everything's already logged in there. And yeah, well, it's like you can use it when you're like an Android or an iPad.
Really?
And you just TV Snap.
TV Snap?
Yes.
Snap, like Snap?
Yes. Yeah.
So where do you put the program?
You can on your phone or your tablet. Or your tablet. Okay. So
All
you can download that, and then for like, we have kids that do have a lot of sensory.
Oh,
I like
you're
that you
so
look
sweet.
I like that you stuck with neutral colors and the I don't know, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
And your watch band brown.
Well, this is my information, y'all. If y'all want to stay connected. So I offer trainings online and in person too. If you want trainings, go to my school community and I do them for free. And you get clock certificates for it too. I have a Facebook, I have a TikTok, and I have an Instagram also, if y'all want to follow any. But yes, I offer free trainings all the time because I know we need them hours, but we want stuff that work also.
What's your name?
Sarai, Sarai. Thank y'all so much, and thank you for that. I need the name of that because I want to write that down.
I got it now. I got it. It's Teeny Snap. She's her last. That's all snap like the baby. Teeny Snap.
They look like this. So when you download it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Oh, let me go to this next one.
Most guys get to
So kind of like how the action behavior tests, like those little tablets and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hopefully it does.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It probably is. I just went to my dad.
It's alright, I'm gonna look it up. Thank you so much.
It look like this. Watch out. Okay,
Let me give you some.
yeah.
That was good information. And it's like,
So it looks like this. Thank you. So it looks like this. So you can use that and just download it, and it will show up everything on there. And you can add stuff on there. You can add different things on there. You can do stuff. So when I say I have jumpers, everything. I have a child. And but me and my parents, we have good communication. I don't have any issues with my parents. And then my job, they also, they're clinic too. So we have therapists that come to speech and OTs. So they work majority with my kids.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Do you do any of those, Facebook or Instagram?
Yes, already.
Send me a message, and so we can talk, because that's a unique situation. No, so they gave me some just to give away, but everybody should be getting something.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming. Thank y'all.
Go back and scan it.